This is the Pimax Dream Air SE, the slim version. Priced at $1,199 USD, it is one of the most affordable PC VR headsets to include high-end features such as micro-OLED displays, eye tracking, inside-out tracking, and a motorized IPD adjustment. It is also one of the smallest and the lightest VR headset I've ever tested. On paper, that sounds almost perfect for sim racing. However, after spending a couple of months testing it on my own motion rig, and comparing directly against my daily driver, the Quest 3, I found that the experience is not quite that simple. Yes, the image quality can be absolutely stunning. The low weight, especially when combined with a newly updated visual interface, makes the headset almost disappear once you start racing. Eye tracking can also significantly improve rendering quality and performance. But there are still some major compromises, including the limited refresh rate, stiff cable, and no mixed reality option. So in this review, I will go through everything and tell you whether the Dream Air SE is the ultimate lightweight headset for sim racing, or whether the compromises are simply too difficult to ignore. Quick disclosure, Pimax sent me this headset for review, but I was not paid or sponsored in any way. I simply refuse to review products from brands that try to control what I say. That said, whether I'm biased or not, I will leave that up to you to decide. You can use my discount code SIMNEST15 for Dream Air SE or SIMNEST for all the other Pimax products on Pimax's website. Within Pimax lineup, the Dream Air SE sits between the more affordable Crystal Light and the high-end Dream Air and Crystal Super headsets. It is essentially Pimax's entry point into lightweight micro-OLED display PC VR. The Dream Air SE comes in two versions. The Lighthouse version costs around $900 USD, but it does not include controllers or base station. You will need at least one Steam VR base station for tracking, which costs around $200. The version I have here is the slim version. It costs $1,199 and includes inside-out tracking and 2 controllers, so no external base stations are required. For comparison, my 512GB Quest 3 cost around $600. Add a third-party head strap, visual interface, and a dedicated Wi-Fi 6E router, the total cost comes to roughly around $800. Still, the Quest 3 is considerably cheaper and more versatile, while the Dream Air SE offers more premium features. But is it worth the extra money? Keep watching. When I first opened the box, the thing that immediately stood out was just how small and light the headset is. Without the head strap or visual interface, the Dream Air SE weighs around 140 grams. That is roughly 1/3 of the weight of the Quest 3, which weighs around 400 grams with only the headset itself. With the Anapro head strap and its massive external battery, my complete Quest 3 setup weighs around 1 kilogram. That is well over 4 or 5 times as much as the Dream Air SE, with its full head strap and visual interface installed. To be fair, the Dream Air SE is a dedicated PC VR headset, so it doesn't need to handle any onboard processing. The Quest 3, by comparison, is a standalone headset with its own processor, battery, and storage. Even so, the physical difference is just dramatic. The Dream Air SE is mainly covered in thin plastic, so it feels a little basic for a premium product. However, I understand that Pimax chose this material to keep the weight as low as possible. Once you start racing, the low weight makes a huge difference to immersion. When I quickly turn my head to look into a corner, check my mirrors, or watch the cars around me, the headset moves naturally with my head. After a while, the headset itself almost disappears. With the Quest 3, however, I can clearly feel its weight pulling against my movement whenever I turn my head. It constantly reminds me that I have a large headset strapped to my face. The cooling system on Dream Air SE is also impressive. The headset has 2 cooling fans, with 1 fan dedicated to each micro-OLED panel. Although the front plate becomes warm during longer sessions, I did not feel much heat build up around my eyes, and the fans are extremely quiet. Moving on to the head strap, the Dream Air SE has speakers integrated into its removable sidearms. For such a small and lightweight audio solution, they sound surprisingly decent. Positional audio is clear, and the overall sound quality is more than good enough for sim racing. The main drawback is the open design. There is a very little sound isolation, so people around you can easily hear what you're listening to.
I know what you're thinking.
The built-in microphone quality is also acceptable, but I will continue using my wireless mic from Antler Audio because it captures my voice more clearly while picking up less background noise. Overall, the design and the build quality are pretty decent. However, the biggest comfort drawback is actually the cable. The Dream Air SE uses a split cable design, with one cable coming from each side of the headset. They join behind your head at a junction box before running to a control box connected through DisplayPort, USB, and external power. The split cable design works well because it distributes the pulling force evenly. But I honestly don't understand why Pimax chose such a stiff and heavy cable. It partly offsets all the effort the company has put into reducing the weight of the headset itself. While racing, the lightweight headset body almost disappears on my head. However, the cable constantly reminds me that I'm still in the tethered PC VR headset. It pulls against the headset whenever I turn my head, making the movement feel less natural. The position of the rear junction box is also quite awkward. It regularly touches the back of my neck and it moves around when I turn my head. During longer sessions, the contact area can become sweaty and uncomfortable. On the positive side, the cables are integrated into the strap arms, and the arms themselves can be detached from the headset. So hopefully Pimax can introduce an upgraded strap and cable module in the future. Although considering the cables and the side arms are integrated together, it probably wouldn't be cheap. The headset also comes with a magnetic facial interface, which is easy to remove and install. However, this original interface included in the box is just terrible, to be honest. It is so uncomfortable and it puts a lot of strain on my eyes. There's also some light leakage, and worst of all, it positions my eyes too far away from the displays, significantly reducing the visible field of view. And the good news is that Pimax is fully aware of these issues, and this is the updated facial interface, which they call the ProFit interface. As you can probably tell, it is still a 3D printed prototype that Pimax sent to its testing group to collect the feedback, before finalizing the design and moving into mass production. This prototype is fitted with a studio foam pads, which spread the pressure across a wider area of my face instead of concentrating it mainly around my eyebrows, as the original interface did. This also makes the headset more stable during head movement, and the light leakage has been fixed. I can now comfortably wear the headset for hours, and the eye strain problem is completely gone. The biggest improvement, however, is the field of view. This prototype positions my eyes much closer to the displays, significantly increasing the visible FOV and making much better use of the headset's full 105-degree horizontal field of view. I'm pretty happy with this prototype. It's a night and day improvement over the original interface. Pimax said once the design is finished, they plan to send the upgraded interface to existing Dream Air SE owners separately. Future unit will also include the ProFit interface as standard. Credit to Pimax for responding to early user feedback so quickly. What matters more to me is the glasses compatibility. Because the headset body and the facial interface are so compact, it is almost impossible to fit normal glasses inside. So if you wear glasses like I do, you will need to use contact lenses or purchase prescription lens insert, which are also available from Pimax's website. Overall, thanks to the extremely low weight and the softer cushioning of the V2 facial interface, the headset is very comfortable to wear. Now let's talk about the biggest upgrade over my Quest 3, the display. The Dream Air SE uses two 2560 by 2560 Micro-OLED panels, giving you approximately 2.5K resolution per eye or 5K across both eyes. The biggest advantage of these panels is contrast. With an LCD headset such as my Quest 3, black areas are still illuminated and can appear dark gray. With the Micro-OLED, individual pixels can switch off completely, so black areas generally look black. Night racing is where the display looks most impressive. The areas outside the reach of the headlights feels genuinely dark, while brake light, dashboard displays, and track lighting remain bright and clearly separated from the environment. Compared with the Quest 3, the deeper shadows and brighter highlights create a stronger separation between objects, giving the image a much better sense of depth. Even during daytime racing, the cockpit looks richer, colors appear more vivid, and the overall image feels cleaner and more premium. I previously thought the Quest 3 had pretty decent colors, but after trying this Micro-OLED display, I have to say the image quality is on another level. The Dream Air SE also looks noticeably sharper, particularly when reading dashboard details or looking at distant objects. That is not surprising because the Quest 3 has around 4.6 million pixels per eye, while the Dream Air SE has approximately 6.6 million pixels per eye, almost 40% higher. Another factor that may also contribute to the better image quality is the connection method. For PC VR, the Quest 3 relies on video encoding and compression, while the Dream Air SE uses a direct DisplayPort connection. This avoids the compression used by my wireless Quest 3 setups, and helps fine details look cleaner and more consistent. In terms of the lenses, the Dream Air SE uses the Pimax concave view pancake lenses. The main benefit is the generous sweet spot. The Quest 3 is well known for its large sweet spot, and the lenses used on Dream Air SE feel similarly forgiving. The headset is easy to position correctly, and the center of the image looks clear. And I do not notice any obvious distortion when looking towards the edges. However, the limited refresh rate is the main drawback. At the native 2560 by 2560 resolution, the Dream Air SE only runs at 72Hz. Pimax told me that they may be increased to 75Hz, but that's expected to be the maximum native refresh rate. There's also a 90Hz mode, but it renders at 9020 by 9020 per eye, and then upscales the image. At 72Hz, the image looks really sharp. Dashboard text is crisp, distant braking marks are easier to read, and the fine track details stand out more clearly. The downside is the motion clarity. When I quickly turn my head, watch barriers fly past in my peripheral vision, or drive through faster sequence of corners, the image can look noticeably blurrier. Switching to 90Hz immediately makes the motion feel smoother, but the lowering resolution makes the image look softer. In my testing, the difference did not affect my driving performance, but it is still a frustrating compromise that you have to make a trade-off call every time you load up the sim. Apart from the display, one of the Dream Air's biggest advantage over the Quest 3 is eye tracking, which the Quest 3 simply doesn't have. The Dream Air SE's eye tracking system was developed in collaboration with Tobii Eye Tracking, one of the most established and widely trusted names in the eye tracking industry. It uses 10 infrared LED emitters positioned around the edge of each lens, along with high-speed cameras that can monitor reflections from your pupils to detect eye movement. The main benefit of eye tracking for sim racing is dynamic foveated rendering. This allows the headset to detect where you are looking and renders that area at a maximum quality while reducing detail in your peripheral vision. This can significantly reduce GPU load and help the system maintain a higher frame rate. In iRacing, which natively support dynamic foveated rendering, the eye tracking feels accurate and responsive. Even when I move my eyes quickly, I cannot see the high-resolution area falling behind my gaze. This is a comparison with and without dynamic foveated rendering. The unit I have here is the slim version. It has 4 tracking cameras that enables inside-out tracking, so it doesn't require any external base stations. It also comes with 2 controllers, which are intuitive to use and operate similarly to Quest 3 controllers. Similar to the Quest 3, you can activate pass-through simply by double-tapping the side of the headset, which is a pretty convenient feature. However, the pass-through image on Dream Air SE is black and white and extremely grainy. It's good enough to roughly see my surroundings, but it's nowhere near the Quest 3's high-resolution full-color pass-through, which is clear enough for me to even read my phone without taking the headset off. This also means that Dream Air SE is not a practical option for the type of mixed reality sim racing that I use on the Quest 3. With a properly configured Quest 3 mixed reality setup, this can be one of the most immersive ways to experience sim racing. You can see your real steering wheel and your hand while keeping the cockpit and the track completely virtual.
And this is the most immersive thing I ever had in sim racing.
So what is my final verdict on the Pimax Dream Air SE? Its biggest strength are the extremely low weight and the micro-OLED displays. With the revised facial interface prototype installed, the headset feels natural during rapid head movements and it remains comfortable over longer sessions. While the true blacks, vivid colors, and a clean DisplayPort image are especially impressive during night racing. Eye tracking is another useful feature. The dynamic foveated rendering felt accurate and allowed me to run higher graphic settings while maintaining a stable frame rate. However, there are still some frustrating compromises. The biggest is having to choose between the native resolution at the 72Hz or smoother 90Hz operation at a lower resolution. The stiff and heavy cable also works against the whole lightweight design, and the pass-through quality is far behind the Quest 3. Overall, I would recommend the Dream Air SE to sim racers who prioritize low weight, true blacks, and uncompromised PC VR image quality. But for Quest 3 owners who value wireless freedom, mixed reality, and more versatility, it's probably not a worthwhile upgrade. Thank you for watching, I will see you in the next one.